My first year at Cubberley was 1966. I always taught the same thing, world history, and then I coached basketball. I interned at Cubberley from Stanford, so it was a chance to get employment as well as getting teaching experience. Well, it was a very dynamic time, 1967. Black students were being bused into white Palo Alto schools for the very first time, and that had a major consequence. It was a limited number of students, about 23, but it severely altered how we saw the black students and how the curriculum would shape to match their needs. The second thing was the war in Vietnam. Many of the students were facing draft immediately after graduation. The war was escalating. There was a lot of ferment in the street about trying to stop the war. And the third element was simply a cultural revolution. Drugs were coming into the school. Go to San Francisco, wear a flower in your hair. There was a major shift in how students were behaving. The curriculum was being questioned. For instance, the black students were saying we should read Malcolm X, and the faculty was still saying Catcher in the Rye. The black students were saying we need to be treated equally. The white faculty and administration were saying, no, 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 no. You're guests, and we're hosts. So we were dealing with racism, war, cultural change. That was the milieu in which we were trying to teach world history.
I know. My name is Robert.
I'm not even supposed to be at this school. I mean, can you believe these people calling me a guest or something? My name is Deshay Hampton. Deshay Cunningham. Right on.
Well, every day it would be very common in your class to have someone talk about David Harris, a student body president at Stanford, had gotten his hair cut off by some fraternity brothers, or we were hearing about civil rights struggle in the South. So every day these events were flooding into the classroom, demanding some attention.
And my name is Ron Jones, and I teach history here at Cubberley High School in Palo Alto, California.
My wingtip warrior. I'm Mrs. Jones. I pay the bills. He makes magic. It's the times.
1967. There's a war on in Vietnam, and it's the summer of love, protest, and racial integration has just come to our school in the form of a sneak out program.
Oh yes, the sneak out program. Black students from East Palo Alto enrolling in all-white Cubberley.
It's a chance to do something right.
Right. He can't fix anything around the house. Now he wants to fix the world.
This is my sophomore world history class. We're about to study the rise of German fascism, the Holocaust. Great stuff. At the end of last week, Eve Connors asked an interesting question. How could the Germans claim that the Holocaust didn't happen? It's a great question, and I've been thinking up an experiment that might just help them understand.
So for instance, the student government for the very first time were not young lawyers, but it was the United Student Movement. And they had a radical agenda. I mean, it was like the teach-ins were happening. So they were proposing, okay, let the high school campus become a location for teach-ins about racism or about the war in Vietnam. And the faculty was just stunned at that prospect. I mean, the school had never been used in that way. So questions of who could come to campus, who could speak, how would they be allowed to speak, would there be opposing views, how would the school react to that kind of a challenge? They reacted primarily by saying, well, you can't bring anybody on campus. So the next day the students would bring someone on campus. And then the administration would say, well, since they're here, you must provide the opposite view. Well, how do you provide the opposite view to war in Vietnam? Do you bring in a general? Do you bring in the Secretary of State? But the students were saying simply, we have a right to speak. We have a right to assemble. And these were fairly new ideas to the faculty and administration, Palo Alto, California. Well, the wave took place in the context of all this questioning. And I was teaching a rather traditional class. We had been studying South Africa. We did apartheid. We had been studying China. We had been studying Russia. But we got to World War II. It's like condensed history, you know, American history, Reader's Digest version of history. And we reached the epic time of the Nazi and the Holocaust. So I thought I would give the students a one-day exercise in what it would feel like to be in a totalitarian system, where there'd be rules and regulations and compliance to those. So the very first day I had the students sit with their feet flat on the floor and their backs arched, and I talked about the power of discipline.
Today's lesson is about discipline. So for once, I want you to just do what I say. Yeah, blow the whistle, and you take your seat as quickly as you can. On your mark, get set. quietly, quickly, no talking. Just try it for a chance. All right? And, yeah, be aware of each other. That's good. All right. 12 seconds.
Well, I was quite surprised by the second day I entered class fully expecting just simply to go on. I had finished my exercise basically, and I found the students sitting at attention with these zipper-like smiles, you know, beckoning to go on.
Well, I see you want to pick up from where we left off yesterday, all right?
It triggered in my own mind the thought of curiosity. Well, what's going on? Are the kids just enjoying this? They're trying to get out of a test? Or what waits in front of us? What is after discipline? So very spontaneously, I went to the blackboard and wrote strength through community. And I began to talk about the power of community, la raza, a movement, a cause, things that are happening every day right in front of us. What does this mean? How can we explore it? What does it mean to be a part of something bigger than oneself? What if we all got a common grade? What if we worked to really help each other? What would that feel like? That was the second day. I gave out membership cards. I gave out a salute. I established a miniature community called The Wave.
All right, everyone, stand up. Strength through discipline.
Strength through discipline.
Strength through community.
Strength through community.
Strength through discipline.
Strength through discipline.
Strength through community.
Strength through community.
By the third day in The Wave, students were joining the classroom from outside, not the school. I mean, we had students from Palo Alto and Gunn joining us, as well as kids from the school itself that would normally be in the hallways just mucking about. There was the car club, there were the kids that were painting the ceiling blue, there was the kids from the donut shop. So the class had this phenomenal feeling of electricity that we're all together and we're going to change this school and make it a better place. And The Wave was to be the vehicle for that.
Robert, strength through action. I like that.
Yeah, because it's my job to protect you. We'll be your army. Just give us the word.
I think kids join for different reasons. I think we join things for different reasons. Some just thought, well, it's something to do. Maybe some thought, wow, this is exciting. For Robert, one of the students that was very isolated and alone in my classroom, it might have given him a platform to be somebody, and suddenly he was important. And it did give us a sense of importance that we were going to do something.